Puerto Vallarta se ha convertido en uno de los mercados más dinámicos de México. Bienvenidos a D-Series. Soy José Luis Enaino, fundador y broker de D-Group Real Estate. Esto es D-Series, un espacio en donde nos sentamos a conversar con los distintos expertos que forman parte del ecosistema inmobiliario de la Bahía. Si estás pensando en comprar, invertir o simplemente entender mejor el mercado inmobiliario en la Bahía, te invito a que sigas de cerca D-Series. Bienvenidos. Dev, many people buy property in Puerto Vallarta thinking the hard part is over. Once you get the keys, furnishing, preparing your place can actually become one of the most complex part of the process, right?
Yeah, that's right.
From your experience, what is the biggest mistake or missed opportunity new owners make right after closing?
Well, definitely waiting until closing, waiting to the possession date, waiting till they get keys in hand, and then starting the process. That is absolutely the first mistake, because at that point, you've already run out of time. If you already plan ahead and you are ready for your possession date, keys in hand, you could actually be starting your install, and you would reduce the time to market and eliminate that drag to earnings and return on your investment.
That makes a lot of sense, especially the part of timing.
Right.
And I think that connects directly to your story, because you've seen this from both sides, right?
That's right.
How did you first arrive to Puerto Vallarta?
Well, it's funny, actually. My first trip to Puerto Vallarta was as a college student.
Okay.
And I came for spring break. And me and 10 of my best friends, I kid you not, you're gonna love this, rented a 2-bedroom condo in Conchas Chinas.
All right.
And all we wanted to do was lie on the beach and eat street food. And that was how I first came to Puerto Vallarta. And you can only imagine how different, my lifestyle was then compared to
I
today.
can imagine.
But I arrived like many first-timers, either through spring break, a destination wedding, or some kind of family event, or maybe through a cruise. And you land here, and you realize it's an amazing world, and you're hooked.
That's usually how it starts.
Yes.
One trip,
That's right.
you're hooked.
That's right.
So from that moment, how did you end up getting into the world of interior design and real estate services?
Well, I spent 20 years working in the fashion and home furnishings industry. I was based in Los Angeles, and I was working for global brands, and I was managing international design teams.
Okay.
And today, I put that project management expertise to work for our clients, home buyers and investors who want to make the move to Mexico and invest in Mexico vacation properties, luxury villas, and rental income earning properties.
That background really explains the operational side of what you guys do today. But I'm curious about, when did you realize there was an actual gap in the market for something like Create Interiors?
So I realized that there was a gap in the market when I began investing in my first rental units of my own.
Okay.
So my first rental units were in the Zona Romántica, and of course I wanted them to be income generating on the rental market. And out of my own frustrations to find furnishings, nice quality bedding and housewares, and put the whole thing together with a cohesive decor plan, I realized that there was a huge gap in this market for not only selection, but a service that could do it for you soup to nuts. And that really was my inspiration for starting Create Interiors.
That's very interesting, because then it didn't come from theory. It was just pure frustration on your side, right?
Shopping in the market and seeing that there was a gap in retail, services, selection, and piecing it all together, running around and figuring out who has what, and making it all, show up in my condo and look good when it was done.
And at that time, what was the market missing?
So we started Create Interiors in Mexico with our first market in Puerto Vallarta in 2010. And at that time, we saw the first emergence of these beautiful, white, modern, high-rise structures. These, all white monoliths up on the hill. Super contemporary, rigorous architecture. And those home buyers were super premium, luxury level investors. And they wanted that level of furnishings to go with the condo they purchased. And there was a huge lack of contemporary furniture, modern decor style, iconic furnishings pieces. And we realized that we could fill that gap because that was what we were doing already in our LA-based design studio. So we simply created a spin-off of what we were doing in LA to serve the market here in PD and offer those buyers specifically a way to get that furniture that fit the new residences they were purchasing.
So, we know many buyers come from the US and Canada and purchase 100% remotely, right? What challenges do they typically face when trying to, purchase and furnish a property from that distance?
What those buyers don't know is that time is going to be the biggest constraint. How long it's going to take them to find the things that they need for their spaces. So looking around, figuring it all out, purchasing, the timeline it takes to purchase and ship and freight things to this area. And then budget, being surprised about budget and not realizing how much things actually cost. Not having a true budget plan or comp on what furnishings and appliances and electronics will cost. And then really expertise, professional expertise, having help to make sure that it turns out cohesive, thoughtful, curated, and ready to rent.
I believe that's exactly where things start to really break down, right?
Exactly right.
And coming from that, what would be the most common frustrations or mistakes you see owners run into during that process?
So I think first-time home buyers, especially in Mexico, and specifically in the Bay of Banderas, think it's going to be cheaper than it really is. There's this misnomer, misperception that things are inexpensive in Mexico. Just because your taco on the street costs, 20 pesos, doesn't mean that your, washer dryer LG, stack is going to be, less than retail in the US or Canada. And so that's a misnomer, I think, for first-time home buyers. Also, I think the idea that home buyers can DIY this process. Just like you wouldn't choose to self-purchase and take yourself through the closing and possession, part of the process without an attorney or a proper notary, you also, really shouldn't think that you can DIY an entire furnishings plan and bring a property to market on your own. So that's a huge misnomer as well. And, doing that is like working in a foreign country, in a different currency, and navigating another culture. Those are significant obstacles when you stack them all together and you have a time clock ticking. You've purchased your real estate investment and it's not earning any income until that process is done, right?
Yep. Yeah. And then the term turnkey gets used a lot, right? In practical terms, what does that actually mean to you and for your clients?
So for Crane Interiors, that is a literal term. Our clients expect to turn the key and it's move-in ready.
Literally.
Literally. And in fact, that is our gold standard for completion.
Okay.
We want to make sure a unit is 100% complete and you literally can turn the key or press the keyless entry with your finger on the pad and move in ready. So it's furnishings, it's appliances, it's electronics, it's your window treatments handled for you. It's all of your move-in services, the handyman services handled. It is literally everything. And it's fully compliant with property management specs and onboarding lists. Okay. So if your property manager is coming in to do that onboarding punch list, you're 100% compliant and you're ready to rent. That's the definition of turnkey.
Gotcha. So it's not just about design. It's really about execution
You
and
walk
timing.
in, styled, staged, ready, photos are done, ready to go live with your listing.
And going a little bit deeper into this, let's say an investor hires Create Interiors, right? What does the process look like from start to finish for them?
Well, we close that gap that you're talking about in 5 simple steps.
Okay.
So we've taken a pretty complex process and we've drilled it down into 5 easy steps. And in that system and that sequence that we use, we walk clients through design sessions, selection of all those furnishings that we just mentioned, everything that they need to approve and decide, and then we take the rest through freight, logistics, install, inspection, trade services coming in and finishing off the install. Everything is done easy, convenient, again, and ready on arrival.
Wow. I mean, speed is obviously, if it's not the biggest factor, it's a very big one in here, right? How long does it typically take to go from an empty unit to something that it's turnkey and live?
So we talk about from keys to cash flow.
Okay.
The day that you get your keys to the day that you actually cash flow on your rental investment. And we shorten that gap in 8 to 12 weeks. So 8 to 12 weeks is actually the shortest turn time in our market. And in that time, we have walked our clients all the way through the design process, the decision-making, the approval, procurement, purchasing, freight, logistics, all the way to our crew on site doing that white glove install. So 8 to 12 weeks is the standard for us.
That's a very fast turnaround for this market.
Shortest turn for time in the market, right.
And do the clients need to be physically here at any point of the process, or can everything be handled remotely?
Well, that's actually the beauty of our program. Since day one, since we started our company in 2010, we have been entirely paperless. We have no paperwork at all. It's all digital. And we do our entire design at a distance service virtually. Wow. Because our clients are mostly North American, US, Canadian, European buyers. They are buying and designing at a distance. They are not physically here or present while their transaction is taking place. Very often they fly in for their closings or choose to do that remotely. So we've developed an entire process that's designed at a distance and 100% virtual.
Wow. And from your experience, how much does design actually impact on rental performance?
It's very important. Great design is absolutely essential to the rental success. Everything that a guest touches, everything that a guest experiences in your vacation home or luxury villa or rental property is something that affects their experience, that affects their well-being, influences their guest review, and of course drives up nightly rental rate. So really those touch points, those things that clients and guests interact with become those really important elements driving experience through experience through reviews to revenue.
So it's not just aesthetics, it's directly impacts
it's not
revenue.
just a look or a design like an optional feature, it's actually the function, the human functioning of a space.
And what would be specific design elements that make a property stand out on platforms such as Airbnb or VRBO, etc.?
We think it really comes down to amenities.
Okay.
It comes back to the guest's experience and their interaction in the space. So investing in anything that's a touch point for guests, investing in high quality towels, linens, mattresses, Again, anything that the guest touches, we think is worth every penny. They love the location and they remember the stay, but they want to come back and have that feeling again because of how the space made them feel. And those are those touch points, those nice quality elements about a space, the intuitive way that things are just plugs are connected, or there's a USB port by your bed. All those things, those thoughtful details are why a guest would come back and stay again.
In your opinion, what design decisions can actually hurt a property's value or rental potential? Because you see that a lot, right? Properties that feel together, but they're not really with a clear vision.
Yes.
Are there any trends, that look great online, but don't really work in real life vacation rentals?
Yeah, so first of all, we think a cohesive decor style is super important to start your process thinking about furnishing an investment property in Mexico. Have a cohesive decor style. And then be clear on your all-in budget. Those are two things that we think are very important, so important that we do a free discovery session around just those two topics. And we'll speak to any home buyer that would like to book a session with us. And we drill down into what does it mean to have a cohesive decor style and how to determine that all-in budget. And with those two pinpoints clearly in mind, you really do have most of the tools that you need to complete your project.
So it's definitely becoming a more design-driven and global process, isn't it? What are buyers and renters expecting today that they weren't asking for, let's say, 5, 8 years ago?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think it's technology, connectivity, things like Starlink systems, smart home, security systems, linked lighting, air conditioning on a timer, all of that. Because we've seen this huge trend of investors and home buyers actually spending more time here in their own units versus just using them as rental properties. So owners now come and have longer or extended stays. What do they need? They need technology. They need connectivity. They're doing Zoom calls back to the office. They need, empirical fail-free Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? Those things start making a difference so they can be working remotely while the family is here playing and having fun. So yeah, definitely technology. In the last 5 years, that's been a game changer.
Deb, following into that, if you were personally buying a condo today, how would you design it?
So if I were adding to my own real estate rental units that I already have, I would and I am totally fascinated by more destination-driven locations and properties. Things like tiny homes or yurts or those geodesic domes that we've seen starting to make their way into this market. Glamping, we've seen that already in the Punta Mita luxury sector. Really remote locations with vibe and personality. I think people are really stepping away from the hotel or multi-unit, condo complex environment and looking for truly deep experience, deep meaning and connectivity with nature. And those are the kinds of properties that I'm super fascinated by at the moment.
That is a completely different mindset. And I honestly love it.
Yeah.
Let's switch up for a second and go into something a bit more fun, all right? It's gonna be just quick answers. First thing that comes to your mind, all right?
Let's go.
One design element every property should have.
Okay, that's rugs, for sure. Carpets and rugs.
Okay.
People are always surprised when we say that, but that naked tile look is not a thing.
All right. One mistake every new owner should avoid?
Again, diving in without a clear budget. That's a fatal mistake.
And one upgrade that gives the best return.
Artwork. People should never skip, owners should never skip the idea of investing, even if in a few small pieces, but original artworks makes all the difference.
All right. And last thing, and probably the most important for anyone watching this, for a first-time investor who just bought a vacation rental property in Puerto Vallarta and want to go live as soon as possible, what are the 3 most important pieces of advice you would give them?
So first of all, congratulations. You made a great investment.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
an incredible opportunity, an incredible market. And it's for sure decor style, having a cohesive decor style, knowing your all-in budget and being very clear on what the true costs are going to be, so you don't have surprises, down the road. And then hire a professional service so it's done right. Every penny you spend will pay you back in terms of revenue and nightly rental rates.
Yeah. And to close this on a strong note, what is the most expensive mistake you've seen people make when furnishing either or setting up a property in Mexico?
Well, this one truly makes me cry because it's shopping trips. I see shopping trips advertised all over the internet, and it's the most pressurized situation you can imagine, to be able to go somewhere for a weekend and make all of your decisions in a couple of days, and then hope and pray that everything gets here and it's perfect. And invariably the furniture arrives in disaster. We've had so many calls from owners and their property managers once the pieces actually arrive. Don't fit in the elevator, cannot fit up the stairs, nobody's going to hoist it over a balcony.
Yeah.
Way too big, not scaled to fit the space. Things don't go together. People forgot what they bought. When they see it together, they don't even remember that they purchased those things. And it's super difficult. If you wouldn't do that at home, it's definitely not wise to do it here.
So hard no to shopping trips.
It's a hard no to shopping trips, unfortunately.
Thank you very much, Deb. Really appreciate this conversation. And again, I would love to have it anytime soon again. And I really believe what Great Interiors do, it's really amazing. Congratulations.
Can't wait to chat with you, and we're super excited about supporting your home buyers on their journey to multi-unit real estate.
Thank you very much.
Get rid of it. Yay!
Good.